Hi, I am Chef Debbie from Harmons Cooking Schools, and I love working here. I get to work at all the cooking schools from Santa Clara to Station Park. I actually facilitate our kids camps, and I enjoy working with the children, so I'm going to show you an easy recipe that will be good to work with your kids and let them do, because they love to get their hands in the dough. Okay, first of all, I found there's a lot of ways to measure. The best and the most accurate, if you're looking on the internet or somewhere else for a recipe, a lot of them will give you weights. That's your most accurate way to measure. But if you don't have one of these, then I will show you how to measure correctly. Okay? So you will take your measuring cup. First of all, the reason flour is your most finicky one. Sugar will settle and it's okay, but flour, you will need to fluff it up. And so I'll do this, and then you'll take a spoon and spoon it in. And as you spoon, you're not doing anything to tap it down or anything. And then you'll take the back of the knife and just go like that. And this is something we do teach our children in the kids' camps. Now, I see a lot of people that will just scoop, and then they go like this. And that doesn't work. If you're having a recipe that doesn't turn out, it may be because you didn't measure correctly. Okay, now let's go to our lemon, because this recipe includes a lemon and lemon zest, and so I'm going to show you what we do with the lemon. This is some good hints. If you've got lemons that are getting ready to go bad, or you purchased a whole bunch of them or anything like that, never let that go bad. Maybe you've got a recipe that only calls for the zest. So I always juice them, I will zest every lemon, and I'll put it in the freezer and bring it out when I'm ready to use it again. So a lot of you don't realize on your box graters, you usually have a zester. So I will zest, see how I zest, or we've got a microplane that you can do this with. And both are just as effective. So I would do that. Make sure you get all of the zest off here. That is just like good stuff. I never waste any zest, or I get all of that I possibly can. And I save all my juice. So there we go with that. I'm going to cut this in half now because we may be juicing it pretty soon. So let me set this back here. And let's get ready to make some scones. I don't want anyone afraid to let your kids in the kitchen. They love cooking. You would be amazed at how well they bake. I am putting gloves on because when I mix this, it's going to be very messy, and you don't want to wait for me to wash my hands. But if I was at home, I would just be digging in there with bare hands. I'm just going to tell you that. All right, so for this recipe, I have flour, I've got sugar, I've got salt, I've got baking powder, I've got lemon zest, blueberries, cold butter, and cold cream. And that's what we're going to start with. We're going to start with our flour and our sugar and our baking powder and our salt. And we're going to put a little bit of zest in here. Ooh, it's zest from one lemon, but if you like more zest, go for it. Now, a lot of people will tell you to use a food processor. You know, very easily you can get that too much. You can do too much with the food processor. So I go the old-fashioned way. I like to use a pastry cutter. And I've cut my butter up in cubes beforehand. Then I put it in I can't stress enough that you need this cold. So I will put it in the fridge until I'm just about ready to use it. Sometimes I'll even put it in the freezer. Now, what you'll do is take this and just take that pastry cutter, get in there. You want little clumps of butter in there. And the reason you want cold butter is you're going to have these little, it's going to look like cornmeal when we get done. Now see how I'm getting that out of there, and see those clumps of butter? What it will do when it gets in the oven is it will melt and it'll form these little pockets that makes it so flaky and beautiful inside. And it's going to be so tender, you're going to love it. So now I'm just going to keep working this. Look how I'm working this. Can you just see your kids diving in here and just having a ball with this? This is going to be amazing. And wait till you, if you ever have a scone that's too tough, you didn't use cold butter or cold cream. So I can't stress enough using the cold butter. Now, another easy way to do this too, if you didn't want to do the pastry cutter, but you'd have to have frozen butter, is take that box grater I just showed you and use the large grater and grate your butter. But it does need to be frozen. And I still will put it back in the fridge for just a few minutes before I use it. Now, I'm going to clean this off of here. All right. Now I want you to see this. See, there's still clumps of butter in there. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? Okay, now we're going to take these blueberries. Oh, yum. Who doesn't love a good blueberry? And I'm going to coat those with flour. Just like this. And now we're going to create a little well. And I'm going to put the cream right in the center of the well. Now imagine me without gloves. Look at this. Ooh, yum. Now take it, gently fold. You're going to incorporate your flour mixture, your berries. Be very gentle. You don't want to get those blueberries to pop or to get, you want to keep your blueberries full if you can. Could you use frozen blueberries with this? You could. The biggest problem you're going to have is that your dough will be blue and you'd have to dry them off. It'd still taste good. You're just going to have a blue color. But I would suggest using fresh, but of course, desperate times sometimes call for desperate measures. Now, if it's still a little bit dry, which I think we need just a little bit more, I've got some fresh lemon juice. I didn't put this in the recipe. I may add that to the recipe before you get to see it. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of lemon juice. I mean, I'm one of those that don't think you can have too much citrus. So here we go. And be careful, like I said, be gentle. And now I'm going to form this as gently as I can. Pull it together. See how I'm working that dough ever so gently to bring it together. And I'm going to put a little bit of bench flour out here. Not a lot, just a little bit. If you can put it on marble or quartz or granite, anything like that. Ooh, I'm missing a blueberry. Get that back in here. Then that is probably your best way to do this. So now I'm going to take this, see how I formed all this together, and you want this to be a square. And we're going to make like a 7 by 7 inch square. And I'm not going to roll it. You don't need a rolling pin for this. And I'm kind of just eyeballing it and saying, this is about the height I want this, but I want it to be square. Yeah, we need a little bit more there. I don't work very easily with gloves. Can you see that? There we go. That looks really, I'm going to square up those corners. And then I'm going to get rid of these gloves because I've had enough of those. Now we're going to cut these in half. We're going to cut them in half again. I'm just eyeballing it. You don't have to be perfect. Then I'm going to make little triangles. And we're going to do this. Now I'm going to put them on my baking sheet. Okay, so we're going to, ooh, did you see those blueberries? Look at that. And let's get some more here. Make sure you have space between them. If you don't, they will not cook as well. It's not like biscuits. Biscuits, you kind of want them together because it makes them rise. On your scones, you will want to have them separated a little bit. In fact, I'm going to separate these two guys a little bit more. Then, if we haven't had enough cream and butter, and all that goodness, we're going to put some more cream on here. This is not a diet recipe, I'm just telling you. But it's so worth the points and the calories. Now we're just going to brush a little bit of heavy cream on here, because this will give it a nice, beautiful finish. If I was not doing this for a class, I would put these, after cutting them, I would put them in the fridge for at least 10 to 15 minutes, maybe a half hour. And then I would bring them out and put my heavy cream on and put them in the oven. And then I'm going to put them in an oven at 400 degrees, and they'll go anywhere from 20 to 25 minutes, I'm going to say. And I'm going to slip these in the oven here. I've made quite a mess there, haven't I? There they go. And through the magic of TV, look what we've got. TV, YouTube, whatever. Here we go. All right, now we're going to make a glaze for these. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to take powdered sugar. This is so simple. Powdered sugar, I've only got a cup of that in there. I even put a little more zest. Some people don't like zest. If you don't like zest, keep it out. You know, it's not that big a deal. It's your thing. Lemon juice. I'm going to say we're starting with like a couple of tablespoons. And we're going to whisk this. And you want to get this smooth. Let's see, we need some more lemon juice in there. But I want a consistency that you see the glaze, okay? So that's why I'm kind of sneaking up on it. If you put it in all at once, now this is the other thing I will tell you if you're in my class. Don't go to where you're whipping powdered sugar and everything all over the place. Just get it in there and keep it down at the bottom. Have a bowl that's big enough or large enough that you can do this without getting it all over everything. Otherwise, guess what? Mom and Dad aren't going to want you to cook. So learn how to clean up your mess and learn how to contain your mess, okay? All right, now I'm going to take this. That looks really good to me. Let me show you. How's that? It's smooth. You just want it smooth. Oh, I want to taste it. I love lemon. So let me take one of these now. I'm going to put it on here. And, okay. You'd be surprised how creative these children can be. Oh, look at that. Oh, man. Guess what I'm eating as soon as we're done. Anyway, I just want to tell you, for this recipe and for all others, go to harmonsgrocery.com, excuse me. And also we have several other recipes. We'll have more classes going. And you can view this several times on YouTube, as many times as you want. So I hope you let your children do this and enjoy. We'll see you on the next one.